Hello everyone, welcome to QA Stack. Today we are going to understand some key concepts in Playwright which you will be definitely using when you are going to work on a real-time test automation project. So let's dive in. The first concept is skip. When we are having multiple test cases, how do we skip certain test cases and while executing the others? So in Playwright, if you want to skip a test case, you can simply put a keyword skip and then that test case will be omitted from the entire pack. So for example, I have marked this test case as skipped. This test case is verify get request in completed state with success. Now let me run the execution. Sorry, my bad. So the execution is completed now. Let's check the report. So this is the report. Now you see verify get request is completed with success. This is not here. Also, if you see in the execution results, you can see clearly one test case skipped and 6 passed. Now once we remove this, this will be automatically executing in our normal executions. Now let's try to understand how can we run a specific test case in Playwright. Let's say you want to execute only this test case. You can simply use the keyword only, and now if you're going to trigger your execution, it will run only one test case. Now here the test case is fail, it's fine, but if you can see, it has only executed one test case. This is really helpful when you are especially debugging any specific test case. You don't have to do much changes. You can just run your test case like this. Another important concept is how to retry test cases. So let's see how can we retry, how can we configure retry globally, and also how can we configure retry to a specific test case. If you have to set global retries, you can set it in playwright config.ts file with keyword retries. Here I have specified if the environment is CI, the retries are 2. If it is local, there are 0 retries. Now let me make this 1. Now let's run the test case once again. Since we have used the keyword only, it has picked only one test case. Now this test case has failed, so that's why it moved on to retry. You can clearly see retry test case and its execution results. Let's try to run the entire suite, not just one test case. Now it is going to pick all the cases and retry only the failed ones. So now here you see all test cases are 7, passed 6, failed once. Now if we see, this is the failed test case. Like we said here, the response status expected is 20, but the actual status is 200. It has retried, even after retry it has failed. So this is how we can use retry globally. Now suppose if you want to set retry only for a specific set or a group of tests, we can also do that. In order to do that, Let me first revert the config changes and mark the retry as 0. Now, let's say I have this test case, verify city, search on home page, verify data, search on home page. I want to retry only these cases. So I can use the keyword retries under the test.describe block. This is my test.describe block. When I am configuring the retries as 2, it will only retry these 2 test cases. Now let's try to add some failures so that we can visualize how it retries the objects. So let me try to use an item that will not be existing most probably and see how it retries. Now let me run it again, npm run test QA. I'm using this command because I've already configured cross environment to run it in QA, and I have added the cross environment script in package.json. If you have not set up this, you can simply run your test cases using npx playwright test, then also it will work. It's still executing. Now you see it's retrying because of the failure. Okay, so execution is completed. We can see the report here. Let me refresh the page. So now you can see here in this report, there are 2 tests which are failed. Verify get request is completed with success. Then we have verified date search on home page. Let me open the first failed case. Now here in this section, there is no retry because we have disabled global retries. Now if we go on to the verified date search on home page, here you see it has retried once and again it retried. Because we have purposely made this command fail, it has received failure in all the 3. In real-time scenarios, if there are intermittent issues on multiple retry, it could have been passed as well. Now let's go back to our weather test case. Here under the describe section, we have applied 2 retries, and that is why this retries worked on one of the test case which is failing in this. So this is how you can retry a specific set of test cases out of an entire test suite. Now let's understand another important concept in Playwright is allure-playwright reports, how you can integrate allure reports in Playwright. In order to apply allure reports in Playwright, you need to first install allure-playwright dependency. Let me do that using npm install allure-playwright. The correct command is npm install -d allure-playwright. Now since I've already installed it, it might not show you as real installing, but if you're installing it first time, you can see packages getting installed. Second is you have to install the command line dependencies using npm install -g allure-playwright. Sorry, my bad, I have given incorrect name. Okay, now we have installed the allure-playwright report. Second step is to configure it in playwright config.ts file. Let's open playwright config.ts. In playwright config, there is a reporter section under which by default HTML file would be mentioned, because by default it generates HTML. Now we want to attach a Allure report as well. So we will have to add Allure playwright. Okay. So now we have HTML as well as Allure playwright, both the types of reports supported. Now let's see how can we generate Allure playwright reports. In order to generate Allure reports, you have to use this command, Allure generate, and then you have to specify the folder where you want to generate your results. Let's say I'm specifying a folder, Allure results. I will also specify clean, and then I have to specify Allure report. Now you see report generated successfully. Now once the report is generated, in order to launch the report, you have to use the command allure serve. And also you have to specify the path where results are generated. So I have used allure serve, allure result. Okay, my bad, I have used the incorrect path. It's /allure result. Okay, I'm sorry. The report has generated under allure results. So I have to use command allure serve allure results. It's very important that you give the right name, otherwise you might end up like this. Okay, so this was it about today's concepts in Playwright. If you want to watch more videos on Playwright, do hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, do hit the like button. Thanks everyone, thanks for watching. Stay happy and keep learning.